That's okay. I'm just waiting for his finger to go.
Okay. So, why don't you introduce yourself?
Okay. My name is Toni Rayner. I am a parent of 2 at Eastside Memorial High School, and I've got a senior graduating this year and a junior coming up, and they're both honor roll students, and they're on the robotics team, and the eldest one especially has been very involved these last couple of years, trying to save their high school.
So you say you have 2 kids at Eastside Memorial. Tell me about your involvement with the school district.
My involvement with the school district really kicked into gear when my first son moved to Eastside Memorial, because in middle school he had a tough time, and I promised him I would find a different place, and for high school, get him out of that train and away from those the kids that were giving him a hard time. And we discovered Eastside Memorial High School. It had the smaller class sizes and the high-tech emphasis. I thought it could be really good. And just in a matter of weeks, he was opening up and blossoming, and said, hey, they're starting a robotics team, and can I stay after school for this thing, and after school for this thing? And this is a kid that had been trying so hard to just please stop punishing me by making me go to school. And so I figured that a campus that was being such a blessing to my kid, I needed to support as much as I could. And so I got involved in the PTSA and learned what a CAC was. And over a couple of years, I'm now a member of the DAC, which is the District Advisory Council. I'm part of the SHAC, which is School Health Advisory Council. And currently I'm the president of the PTSA at the high school. And I have participated in AISD public comment hearings, and I've attended so many different meetings on the campus that are supposed to be about community engagement, and been part of so many little tables of people giving ideas and putting little colored dots and post-it notes on posters, and then wondering what happened to all those grand ideas. It just kind of floated away. I've done what I could to support the robotics team and the other teams, to the point that my youngest is like, you know, you need to leave campus now. You're embarrassing me. But yes, I've been very, very engaged with supporting, being a booster, cheerleader kind of a thing for the campus the last couple of years.
So, when the school district announced that it was going to bring the IDEA charter school folks in from South Texas, at that time you were a member of the Parent-Teacher Student Association and also the campus advisory council at Eastside Memorial at Johnston. Let's talk about the day that the district made that announcement. What was going on that day?
Well, that day, October 20th, 2011, I believe, the DAC has a monthly meeting, District Advisory Council, and then once a year they have an all-day work session. Well, this particular day, I was with the other members, probably almost 50 people, at the Delco Activity Center. And for this all-day session, we were there from about 8:30 a.m. to about 3:30 p.m. I mean, all day long. Getting reports on different, on the status of different AISD projects, doing a little bit of stuff that I thought was rather annoying. We were learning about each other's colors and how to communicate better, and it's like, it's October already. We've been communicating for months now. But still, all day together. The superintendent came in and did kind of a state of the district sort of report, and that's kind of standard at the DAC meetings. And also our Board of Trustees liaison member was there, Vincent Torres, as was normal for him to attend the meetings as well. That's one of the reasons the DAC is good, is because it's got parents and teachers and staff members and even a couple of student members trying to give a broad spectrum of ideas and viewpoints. Learn a lot about the district. But this particular day, at one point after lunch, I ended up sitting very close to Mr. Torres, and I knew that there was a meeting at Eastside Memorial that evening. I mean, I was going to have a long day. But he asked me if I knew about the meeting later at school. I said, yeah, it's kind of vague. I mean, increased educational opportunities for the campus. But yeah, I planned on going to it. And he said, good, you need to go. I'm glad you're going to be there. And in hindsight, that's the only hint I had of what was going to be happening that night. The educational opportunity turned out to be the announcement of the partnership with IDEA Public Charter Schools of South Texas, headquartered 300 miles away from us. And they were going to be taking over 2 schools in the vertical team, Allen Elementary School and Eastside Memorial High School, over the next couple of years. And wasn't this a wonderful thing? And I knew immediately that she had just fired everyone on 2 campuses. I knew that, as I said, I am so involved, my kids are almost chasing me to go home. And I didn't know anything about it. But yeah, the fact that they were firing all of those teachers, because she even said that IDEA would be hiring their own staff, and that all of the teachers, staff members, secretaries and everybody, could apply for their positions with IDEA. And but yeah, I was shocked, and I tried, although I was angry, I tried to control myself and just kind of find out what I could. I didn't want to start throwing things, you know, without more information. And we broke up into about 5 or 6, I think, different groups scattered all over the campus. And I ended up in one room. A student, a high school student, knew exactly what this meant. And he, there was an AISD representative in each of the groups to accept feedback. And everybody in that room was really angry, but this student was just about crying, asking, why are you doing this to us? And doing this to my school. And he actually broke down and had to step out of the room for a few minutes and kind of catch his breath, and he came back in and tried to finish. And everybody else in the room knew exactly where it was coming from. And that was the feeling, I think, of all of us. The previous spring, Eastside Memorial High School was academically acceptable. for the first time, completely across the board, for the first time, it was supposed to be a clean break between Johnston and Eastside, but we were constantly being chained to Johnston's reputation. So I'm going to say academically acceptable in all categories for the first time in about 8 years. Okay, those kids, that staff had worked so hard. The year before, they almost did it. Okay, but this spring, they had done it. And as their reward, their principal was replaced. And they had this guy come in who was not a good match for the school. But everybody was trying to, okay, this is the new reality, let's try to, okay. That was at the end of August, new principal, and here it was, what, six, 7 weeks into the new school year, and they just told us that it doesn't matter what you do, we are taking the school away from you.
And this was the first hint that you had heard of anything like that?
Yeah. In the CACs, which in hindsight I didn't know how much power we actually were supposed to have. AISD was not about coming in and having a conversation. Campus improvement plans were not campus based. AISD was coming in and telling us what they were going to do. But the previous school year, it was all about, started out the school year, if Eastside doesn't pass the tax test in the spring, we need to have a plan in place because TEA will probably come and fuss at us again. So it went from if to anyway, it just changed in a matter of meetings that whether or not East Side passes the tax, they were going to be making major changes. And one of the changes that I was okay with was that Harvard Education Labs apparently had a format that was kind of a cultural thing. With like the 5 tenets, no excuses culture, and more time on task kind of stuff. It sounded reasonable. And that's what it was up until May. The board was supposed to vote on it in May and then submit it in June to the TEA for approval. Like I said, this plan was being developed whether or not Eastside students passed, which was really irritating. And but still, it is what it is. But then the kids passed, and they were so happy, and we got this. Well, CAC meeting just before the board meeting, I'm going to say around April 19th, somebody tried to slip a name change for the campus in there, which really upset a lot of people. And it turns out there were other things kind of behind the scenes that were tweaking the campus improvement plan even up until the trustees were supposed to vote for it. And one of the things that got slipped in wasn't just connecting with Harvard Education Labs about trying to bring in a slightly different focus. It was kind of presented as like a mentoring program, that these specialists would come in and talk with us about how to tweak the culture a little bit toward greater, higher goal setting. That's what it was supposed to be. But one of the things that they added just before they submitted to the TEA, voted and submitted to the TEA, was Harvard Education Labs or another educational entity. And apparently that's what Superintendent Karstafen has been using to say that no, IDEA was part of the campus improvement plan. They are the other educational entity. No, it wasn't. We talked a little bit of like a mentoring influence. We never talked about just turning it over to an outside organization to run the campus and fire all the teachers again and totally upend the student body again. That's one of the things that's so frustrating is that my oldest is a senior now, and the campus family has been such a blessing to him. He's embraced it, and it's been so good for him. And the actual format of the campus has changed 3 times while he's been there. And this idea was going to be a 4th one. True, just after he graduated, but it was already influencing the campus because we had teachers that they knew they were fired. So they started putting out resumes and feelers, and our incompetent teachers that can't get the job done, anybody that put out a resume, they were hired in 10 days to 2 weeks. And this was right after the reduction in personnel, the riffing from the year before, where almost 20,000 teachers across Texas were fired. You know, the teachers thought they were going to be on the market for a while. So they went ahead and started getting stuff out there, and they were snapped up. I mean, we had quality teachers. As soon as they became available, they were picked up. And so we had a lot of churning last school year, lots of new teachers coming in, and the students were brilliant. They were brilliant, and they started a protest movement and got the community involved, and got the parents. And you know, when you have Gus Garcia and Carol Strayhorn joining, marching with the students, that you've got something strong building. And we really thought that the little engine that could was going to stop the IDEA contract on December 12th. We got to put off a week to December 19th, 2011. But it was, even though it was finals week, the students were showing up, the parents were showing up. And we were talking to a painting. They, except for trustees Schneider, Barksdale, and Lavoie, everybody else had already made up their mind, and it was obvious to me that the contract had already happened. The deal was already done. We were just talking to tire ourselves out, and it was so frustrating. But the community engagement that they had that fall after the October 20th announcement. Any of the summaries that I saw that AISD produced, meeting minutes and that kind of thing, never recorded any of the negative comments. There were lots of negative comments, and why does this have to be done? What is so special about them that we can't do it ourselves? And nobody yet has shown me the full minutes of those community meetings. And it really was. It felt like what AISD was doing was just ticking the boxes. That we are required to do this, go, tick a box. Oh, did we? Oh, well, let's have one over there too. Tick the box. It meant nothing to them, and it was very obvious. And the community protests were annoying to them. And East Austin tends to get put down for lack of parental involvement and community involvement, and the students don't care, and so on. But here we had, 500 people standing in the rain to express themselves to their board of trustees, and totally negated, totally disrespected. I mean, you could hear them. I actually got into the auditorium at one point, and you could hear them chanting through the rain and the walls. You could hear them chanting, stop this bad idea. And it was fantastic. And the board was completely unmoved. Completely unmoved. And about the only good thing I can say about it is that since then, our students have had a really good look at the democratic system, and we were able to help 4 trustees be replaced. But yeah, we took our case to Austin and educated the rest of Austin about what was going on.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate your time.